Archangel Michael says, you must listen now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, because the heavens are roaring, because the veil is trembling, because your destiny is demanding your attention, and you only have 72 hours to respond. This is not a metaphor. This is not a dream. This is a line drawn in the invisible, a sacred deadline written in fire across your soul. You felt it. Heaven set you. That tightening in your chest, that flicker in your spirit, that whisper at night that says, it's time. Michael speaks with urgency. Not to threaten, but to awaken. There is no more room for delay. No more time to keep replaying your wounds. No more spiritual sleepwalking. The countdown has begun, and every second you ignore it, something ancient within you starts to dim. You were not born for this kind of passivity. You were born with divine fire in your bones. The heavens remember the contract your soul signed before your first breath. The angels recall your purpose even when you forgot it, and now they gather, watching, waiting, urging, because these next 72 hours are sacred. Michael says, the world will try to drown out this message. Your fears will try to muffle it, but truth has a frequency, and if your spirit is aligned, you will feel it echo in your bones. This is your moment of recognition. The heaviness you carry, the strange interruptions in your sleep, the unexpected isolation. They are not random. They are alarms set by heaven. They are divine indicators. They are sacred signs that you are being summoned. The ground beneath you is trembling not from instability, but transformation. The version of you that was okay with being invisible, quiet, compliant, is being burned away. And in its place the warrior is waking. You feel torn because your spirit knows its steps. Time, but your patterns want to stay safe. But hear this, safety has become the new slavery, and comfort is now the cage that stops your flight. Michael says, break free. You do not have time to doubt anymore. There are decisions you've been postponing, conversations you've been avoiding, changes you've been too afraid to make. But in these 72 hours, heaven is issuing a command. Move, because if you do not shift, you will sink. If you do not rise, you will rot in the version of life that was never meant for you. This message will not land gently. It's a spiritual shake, a divine quake, a heavenly confrontation that says, no more excuses, no more delay, no more playing small while your soul burns for more. You don't need another sign. You don't need anyone's permission. The signal is already blaring through your spirit. The angels are circling, your energy is being monitored, and your next choice will echo through eternity. Michael is not whispering this time. He's thundering. His sword is drawn, his eyes are flames, and his voice is vibrating through dimensions, reaching you in this exact moment for a reason. Because you are chosen. Not in a general way, not in a passive, vague, someday way, but now, in these 72 hours, you are being called specifically, surgically, sacredly, for something only you can do. This isn't set about popularity. It's set about power. This isn't set about being seen. It's set about being sent. This isn't set about being comfortable. It's set about being crowned. Michael says, you either move now or you miss the window, and if you miss it, this door will not open the same way again. There is a divine consequence to spiritual hesitation. Delay is no longer neutral. It's dangerous. Your next hesitation could cost you your next level. Your next doubt could block your divine detour. You must say yes before you see how it ends. You must act before you know all the steps. This is the nature of divine obedience. This is the currency of spiritual elevation. Do not rationalize this away. Do not overthink what your spirit already confirmed. This message is not for your logic. It's for your soul, and your soul has already nodded. Now your body must follow. The next 72 hours will define whether you rise into the version of you that heaven already recognizes, or shrink back into the shadow your past painted. This is the choosing hour. the calling hour, the changing hour. Archangel Michael is not just speaking. He is circling, he is protecting, and he is preparing the atmosphere for a shift that will shake generations through you. Your name is echoing in heaven's halls. Your presence is being written into divine blueprints. Your voice is being tuned for purpose. But you must respond. You must move. You must decide. The heavens are roaring. Your angels are watching, and the hourglass is bleeding sand. Michael says, you doubted your instincts, but they were divine. You second-guessed your sensitivity, but it was spiritual alertness. You called it anxiety. Heaven calls it awakening. You've known for weeks something was shifting. People have distanced themselves, not because you changed, but because your vibration did. And now the energy is splitting, the dimensions are separating, and your choice is being recorded. You have 72 hours. What will you do with them? You have been pretending not to notice, telling yourself it's just a phase, dismissing the weight in your chest as stress, the whispers in your spirit as imagination. But Archangel Michael says, it's time to face it. The truth you been avoiding is the truth that will set you free. For too long you've danced around your destiny, afraid that if you stepped fully into it, you'd lose the people, the places, the patterns you've grown comfortable with. But now those same things are draining you. They're not just holding you back, they're bleeding you dry. You know this already. You felt it in the spaces where you used to find joy, but now feel nothing. You've sensed it in conversations that leave your soul aching. You've tasted it in the silence, after you compromise again and again and again. Heaven has been patient. But Michael says, the season of silence is over. The truth must now be spoken, not to others but to yourself. You can't shift if you won't admit what's no longer working. You can't rise if you're still lying to yourself about what's holding you down. This truth isn't cruel. It's catalytic. It comes to cleanse, not to crush, but it will feel like fire because it's burning through everything false, every excuse, every illusion, every spiritual sedative that's kept you from waking up. There is someone in your life that was once a blessing, but is now a blockage. You love them, but their energy is no longer aligned. They speak doubt when you need faith. They sow confusion when you are reaching for clarity. Michael says, if you do not release them, you will not rise. This is the hour of internal honesty. The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves because we shape our reality around them. And when truth comes, it shatters everything we built on false ground. But it also makes room for what's real, what's divine, what's meant. You've been playing the role they cast for you, trying not to disturb the peace, but your silence has become betrayal, not betrayal of others, but betrayal of your own calling. Heaven never called you to fit in, it called you to break molds. Michael is not asking for perfection. He's asking for permission to rearrange what no longer serves you, to expose what can't go with you, to reveal what your spirit already knows, but your mind refuses to accept. You were never meant to be everyone's solution. Some people have only stayed because your light makes their shadows feel safe. But you are not their shelter. You are their mirror, and mirrors eventually make people uncomfortable. That discomfort is divine. That pressure is purposeful, and the distance that sep's been growing. That sep's not rejection. That sep's redirection. Michael says, the truth is your soul is already moving on, even if your body hasn't set. Stop asking for signs you're not willing to follow. Stop praying for breakthrough while clinging to the very thing that's blocking it. Stop calling it loyalty when it's really spiritual stagnation. The truth is, you're evolving, and not everyone can go where you're going. Some were only meant for your healing phase, not your rising. Some were teachers, not lifers. Some were lessons dressed as lovers, and some were distractions sent to delay you. The truth is, you've outgrown the old version of you, the one that made everyone comfortable, the one that said yes when your spirit screamed no. the one that kept shrinking just to keep the peace. The truth is, peace was never meant to cost your purpose. Michael says, you are afraid that if you change, you still lose them. But if you don't change, you still lose yourself. This is the 72-hour mirror, the divine reflection, the spiritual checkpoint, where heaven holds up the truth and asks, will you face it or will you fake it one more time? You cannot lie your way into destiny. You cannot tiptoe into transformation. The truth demands full surrender, full exposure, full faith. The energy around you is intensifying not because you're failing, but because you're close. Every lie exposed is a layer removed. Every truth faced is a step forward. Every old attachment surrendered is a spiritual cord cut clean. And when you do this, when you face the truth, you open the atmosphere for something greater. You make room for what's been trying to reach you. You signal to heaven that you are no longer running, no longer resisting, no longer blind. You are ready. Ready for alignment. Ready for authority. Ready for the next level of truth. The kind that doesn't just awaken you but redefines you. Michael says, stop hiding from your own light. Stop minimizing your knowing. The truth Yusuf avoided is the truth Yusuf needed all along. There is no shame in awakening late, only in staying asleep once the alarm is sounding. The pain you feel is not punishment. It's preparation. The tension you're experiencing is not confusion. It's calibration. And now the clarity is here. Raw. Radiant. Relentless. Michael is holding a mirror to your soul. And what you see may sting at first. But it's sacred. It's real. It's the only thing that can carry you forward into the next dimension of who you were born to be. You were not meant to coast through life. You were meant to blaze trails of transformation, but it starts with honesty. Brutal, brilliant, sacred honesty, the kind that shatters masks and unlocks missions. This is not about becoming perfect. This is about becoming truthful, because when you align with truth, you align with power. Face it now. Speak it now. Own it now. You've seen the truth. Now walk in it. You've been asking, why does it feel so heavy? Why do your dreams carry tension? Why do you wake up already tired? Michael says, because what you are facing is not just emotional, it's spiritual. You are not under attack by coincidence. You are being resisted by design. There is a battle happening. But it's not in front of your eyes. It's behind the curtain. In the invisible. In the spaces where energy speaks louder than words, and your spirit has already been picking up the signals. That strange friction in conversations. That unexpected opposition. That delay that doesn't make sense. These are not just bad vibes. These are coordinated distractions. Spiritual warfare dressed in daily patterns, designed to exhaust your alignment and dull your discernment. Michael says, the enemy of your elevation does not always wear horns. Sometimes it wears comfort. Sometimes it sounds like logic. Sometimes it looks like a friend. But make no mistake, anything that keeps you from rising, anything that delays your divine decision, is a weapon. You're not paranoid. You're perceiving. You're not being dramatic. You're being divinely warned. Because in these 72 hours, your clarity is currency. Your focus is your shield, and your energy is being stalked by forces that want you stuck. There is a war on your awareness, a battle for your vibration. Because once your energy aligns with heaven, the enemy can no longer influence your momentum. So the attack isn't loud. It's subtle. It's psychological. It's designed to keep you questioning everything you feel. But Michael reminds you, your feelings are sacred signals. Your instincts are spiritual instruments. Your discomfort is not dysfunction, it's divine direction. If you feel uneasy, it's because something doesn't belong. Not everyone resisting you is your enemy. But not everyone clapping for you is your friend. This is the hour to discern. to listen beyond words, to see beyond smiles, to sense the energy behind the eyes, because darkness doesn't always announce itself. It blends in. Michael says, pay attention to who gets nervous when you grow, who goes silent when you shine, who clings when you try to separate. That's not love, that's energetic control, that's soul-level manipulation disguised as loyalty. The warfare right now is not trying to break you, it's trying to bind you, in distractions, in doubt, in old patterns, in emotional debris. But this is the moment to cut cords, to purge spiritual parasites, to reset your spiritual perimeter. You must treat your energy like royalty. Protect it, guard it. Filter who has access to it, because your light is rising, your spirit is glowing, and that glow attracts both admiration and attack. Not everyone who asks how you are deserves an answer. Not everyone who returns from your past is coming with clean hands. Some return with agendas. Some return because your elevation threatens their illusion of control. Michael says, you must not fight with emotion. You must fight with awareness. This is not about revenge. It's about revelation. When heaven wants to promote you, it first purges your atmosphere, and sometimes that purge looks like conflict. Sometimes it sounds like silence. Sometimes it feels like betrayal. But all of it is spiritual. All of it is part of the process. All of it is making room for the divine shift. You are not crazy. You are not cursed. You are not weak. You are awakening. This is why the pressure has intensified. Because your breakthrough is close. Because your timeline is thinning. Because your yes to heaven is echoing across dimensions, and the enemy is scrambling to distract you before you reach the next level. But you will not be distracted. Not this time. Not in this hour. Not when everything you prayed for is closer than its steps ever been. Michael says, refuse to be manipulated. Refuse to be emotionally baited. Refuse to be energetically hijacked. Stand still. Stay sharp. Hold your peace. Heaven is fighting alongside you, but it needs your alignment. Your silence is strategy. Your stillness is power, and your clarity is your sword. This is not just another tough week. This is not just another hard season. This is a spiritual standoff, and your discernment is the deciding factor. The weapons may be invisible, but your authority is invincible. This is why you've been feeling off. Why you've withdrawn, even without explanation. Why old cravings have resurfaced. Why strange messages arrive from people you've outgrown. It's not coincidence. It's warfare. It's frequency interference. The enemy cannot reach you directly, so it uses what you're familiar with. It will try to lure you back into patterns that kept you small, back into connections that made you doubt, back into behaviors that comforted your wounds, but never healed your soul. But Michael says, you don't owe access to anyone who kept you in chains, no matter how sweet their voice sounds now. You are not obligated to revisit prisons just because you once called them home. Let this be clear. Your energy is sacred territory. Not everyone is licensed to enter, and those who only loved you wounded will never celebrate you whole. In these 72 hours, heaven is issuing clearance codes. Certain people, habits, and mindsets will be denied access by divine order. It will hurt, but it will heal. It will sting, but it will separate what must be left behind. You are in the middle of a sacred firewall, a purge by purpose, and every time you resist the urge to react, you're aligning deeper with your calling. Every time you stay still instead of spiraling, you're proving you're ready for the next level. This war isn't just around you, it's inside you. But light is winning. You're waking up, and what you carry is far too powerful to let the familiar pull you back into the fog. Michael says, protect your light, purify your atmosphere, and remember, you are not under attack. You are under transformation. You've looked at the clock, you've watched the calendar, you've counted the days, and wondered why it hasn't happened yet. But Michael says, heaven doesn't move by your clock. The divine isn't delayed. It's deliberate. You think it's taking too long, but heaven says you're right on time, because what you're asking for isn't being withheld. It's being prepared. Precision takes time. Alignment takes layers, and purpose has its own calendar. You're asking, when will it happen? But the deeper question heaven is asking you is, will you be ready when it does? There is a divine order at work right now, one that defies human logic, one that breaks earthly patterns, one that uses silence as a strategy and stillness as a setup. Michael says, delay is not denial, it's disguise. The waiting you despise is actually sacred preparation. You think nothing is happening, but heaven is coordinating what your eyes can't yet see. Every delay was an adjustment. Every pause was a protection. You were not rejected. You were rerouted. You were not forgotten. You were fortified. Because where you're going requires more than excitement. It requires endurance. You've been measuring your progress by visibility, but heaven has been measuring it by obedience. You think you're late, but heaven says you're in rhythm with revelation. There are things you had to unlearn. Habits that had to die. Attachments that had to break. Because divine timing isn't just about what's ready for you. It's about whether you're ready for it. Michael speaks again. Stop trying to make sense of the silence. The silence is sacred. The stillness is strategic. Heaven hasn't paused. Heaven is positioning. You keep checking your phone for a call, your inbox for an answer, your life for movement. But the real movement is in your mind. The real call is in your spirit. The real shift is in your surrender. Heaven does not rush. It reveals. And when the revelation is complete, it moves suddenly. This is why the shift seems slow until the moment it isn't. One day nothing changes. The next, everything breaks open. But only for those who waited well. Only for those who didn't force, who didn't panic, who didn't try to take divine matters into human hands. Michael says, you must release your grip on human timing if you want to flow in heaven's rhythm. You are not just waiting for something, you are becoming someone. Every moment that felt wasted was writing your resilience. Every unanswered prayer was bending your will toward obedience. Every delay was building a depth in you that surface-level speed could never achieve. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not stuck. You are being strengthened. You are not forgotten. You are being forged. And now in these final 72 hours, the test is this. Will you trust heaven's timing even when it doesn't match your expectation? Because the truth is, if it had happened earlier, you might have ruined it. You weren't wrong to believe, but you would have mismanaged the blessing. You weren't wrong to want it, but you weren't ready to carry it. This time, when it arrives, you won't just receive it, you'll sustain it. You won't just step in, you'll stay. Because this time is different. This time you've been tested. Michael declares, this is not delay. This is divine layering, and every layer you've endured is protection wrapped in preparation. You were wondering when the door would open. But now you understand. You were the one being opened. The path was waiting for your posture. The opportunity was waiting for your capacity. The promise was waiting for your alignment. Now it's close. Closer than it's ever been. But do not confuse closeness with comfort. The final hour is often the hardest, not because you're weak, but because the birth is near. You are dilated in the spirit. You are crowning in the supernatural. You are delivering destiny, and heaven's timing is pushing through you. So breathe, anchor, obey. Heaven's timeline is not yours. It is higher, it is wiser, and it is holy. Do not resist it. Do not rush it. Just rise with it. Michael adds, every divine promise comes with divine pressure. That pressure is not punishment. It is placement. You are being positioned into places you didn't yet even know were prepared for you. This timing will make sense later. The pain will prove purposeful. The long wait will reveal why nothing else worked. And you will look back and see the beauty in what didn't bloom. The wisdom in what didn't work. The grace in what didn't grow because it wasn't your season. But this is your season. This is the window. The veil is thin. The alignment is sharp. And the invitation is open, not just to receive, but to become, to embody, to fulfill, not your timeline. Heavens, you were never waiting on the blessing. The blessing was waiting on your becoming. There are moments when the atmosphere feels strange, like something is shifting, but you can name it. That set's not your imagination. It sets the veil thinning. Archangel Michael says, the spiritual realm is closer than you think, and in these 72 hours, that thinness becomes a doorway. You felt it already. Sudden waves of emotion. Vivid dreams with unfamiliar symbols. Random thoughts that feel like instructions. These are not distractions. These are not distractions. These are downloads. Messages from the divine dimension trying to reach your awareness before the window closes. You are being pulled, gently but undeniably, into higher perception. And the more you resist, the heavier life will feel. Because you are not meant to operate only in the physical. You are wired for spirit, for vibration, for sight, beyond sight. Michael says, this thinning veil is a gift. But only those who are sensitive will sense it. Only those who are still will hear. You cannot access it with noise. You cannot tap in with doubt. This moment requires a level of surrender that silences the world so the soul can speak. You've been asking for confirmation. This is it. The dreams, the nudges, the strange timing, the intuitive whispers. They're not random. They're not coincidences. They're signals, signs that the invisible is becoming visible, that the mystery is materializing. But here's the danger. The thinner the veil, the more sensitive your spirit becomes. That means you'll feel more, you'll notice more, and that also means you'll absorb more, good or bad. So your boundaries must become spiritual, not just emotional. Michael warns, not every invitation in this season is divine. Some come to distract. Some come to deceive. The enemy moves quickly through thin places too. This is why discernment must become your default. If it pulls you into confusion, it's not divine. If it disturbs your peace, it's not purpose. You're not crazy for needing more time alone. You're not antisocial for craving silence. You are protecting your atmosphere. You are honoring the shift, and heaven sees it. Heaven counts every moment you choose stillness over stimulation, presence over performance. There's an increase happening within you now. Your thoughts are sharper. Your emotions are louder. Your spirit is more alert. That's what happens when the spiritual temperature rises. You begin to hear what others miss, see what others ignore, sense what others call irrational, and you can't go back. You've already crossed a threshold. What once comforted you now confines you. What once made sense now feels strange. You are shedding old skins and outgrowing old scripts. Michael says, let it fall away. Let the version of you that clung to chaos dissolve. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining your mission. You are not unraveling. You are uncovering. You are learning to trust your senses again. Your spiritual senses. The ones that knew when someone was lying. The ones that felt the shift in the room. The ones that whispered, this isn't it, when your mind begged you to stay. Those senses are your compass now, and the thinning veil has recalibrated them. You're seeing clearer. You're feeling deeper. You're vibrating higher. And this isn't a phase. This is an activation. But every activation demands adjustment. People won't get you. Some will mock your stillness. Others will label your silence. Some will say you've changed. And they'll be right, because you've accessed something they haven't yet touched. You were never meant to live with your eyes closed to the unseen. You were always meant to walk as one aware, awake, aligned. This is why familiar things feel foreign. Why old friends feel distant. Why your interests are changing. Your vibration is shifting. And anything not on your frequency is falling away. Michael says, Let it. Don't chase what's collapsing. Don't cling to what's fading. If it doesn't match your frequency, it can't follow your future. You are becoming a carrier of revelation. That means your presence will be disruptive to those attached to illusion. That means your words will sting those who've grown numb to truth. That means your walk will confuse those who refuse to move. Let it. You are not called to blend in. You are called to blaze. And in this thinning, the light gets brighter. The line gets clearer. The call gets louder. But so do the distractions, the temptations, the energetic intrusions. That's why this moment matters. This sacred thinning requires sacred attention. Protect your gate. Watch your words. Cover your heart. Guard your energy. Because you are closer to breakthrough than you've ever been. And that makes you more visible in the spirit realm than ever before. Michael says, the light you carry cannot be hidden anymore. But it must be protected. You are no longer a seeker. You are a vessel, and vessels don't chase. They attract. They don't explain, they embody. In this thinness, the divine wants to show you things. Hidden truths, deeper meanings, ancient codes buried in your DNA. But it can only be revealed to a spirit that's still, to a soul that's surrendered. So be still, be soft, be silent. The veil is thinning, and heaven is speaking. Are you listening? They doubted you, laughed at your silence, misinterpreted your stillness as weakness. But Archangel Michael says, they did not know who you were becoming, and now your rise will be their reckoning. You've endured quietly. You've bled invisibly. You've grown in shadows. And while they gossiped, while they guessed, heaven was grooming you, not for revenge, but for revelation. The version of you they thought they buried is now rising, not in noise, but in undeniable light. You are no longer seeking validation. You're embodying transformation. Michael says, you were never meant to prove them wrong. You were meant to become undeniable. And now that you are shifting, they are watching, not with celebration, but with confusion. Because nothing about your elevation makes sense to those who knew you wounded. Nothing about your peace feels fair to those who thrive in chaos. And nothing about your silence comforts those who fed off your noise. You've changed. You've evolved. But more than that, you've aligned. And that alignment is creating friction in those who never thought you'd outgrow the role they assigned you. This is not about ego. It's about emergence. You are stepping into the authority your pain prepared you for. You are walking in the wisdom your wilderness whispered to you. And now heaven is placing a crown where others tried to leave a scar. Michael says, you don't have to clap back. Your clarity is loud enough. You don't have to correct their stories. Your results will silence every false narrative, because heaven is elevating you in full view, not for applause, but for alignment, not to spite them, but to show them what favor really looks like. You're not here to flex. You're here to fulfill. You're not here to settle scores. You're here to step into sacred territory. And as you rise, you are pulling down strongholds. As you grow, you are exposing every lie spoken in the dark. The tables are turning, not by force, but by favor. Not by conflict, but by clarity. What once overlooked you will now seek you. What once rejected you will now respect you. And some won't understand it. They'll call it luck. They'll call it fake. But what they don't realize is that this glow came from the fire. This peace was paid for in pain. This wisdom was bought with every betrayal. Michael says, let them speculate. Let them wonder. Your rise isn't their punishment. It's their mirror. They'll see in you what they refuse to see in themselves. They'll feel in your presence what their spirit lacked the discipline to create. And that's why your elevation will disturb them. Not because you did anything to them, but because your becoming exposes their stagnation. Don't apologize for your glow. Don't dim your rise. Don't shrink for comfort. Because you were not crowned in silence just to hide your light when the curtain opens. Michael reminds you, this rise is righteous. This glow is godly. This moment was marked. They underestimated you, and now they must watch heaven over-deliver on your behalf. Your very presence will convict them. Not because you speak out, but because your silence speaks louder than their slander, because your peace is louder than their chaos, because your elevation is louder than any explanation you could give. You were once the story they told in whispers. Now you are the testimony heaven displays in light. You were once the easy target. Now you are the living evidence of divine reversal. And this reversal is not just poetic. It is prophetic. It is heaven's way of proving that what's anointed cannot be destroyed, that what's covered cannot be cursed, that what's chosen cannot be canceled. Michael says, you will not need to announce your promotion. Heaven will. You won't have to campaign for recognition. The oil on your life will be undeniable. The fruit of your transformation will be irrefutable. They wanted you broken, but you healed. They wanted you silent, but your very life is now a declaration. They wanted you small, but heaven has enlarged your territory. And now they must sit in the front row of your rise, not because you invited them, but because heaven wants them to see what happens when a soul surrenders fully. Let this be your posture: peace, not proof; authority, not apology; clarity, not commentary. You do not have to fight for what's already been written. You do not have to convince anyone of what heaven has confirmed. Michael says, let your obedience be your answer. Let your elevation be your echo. You were not created to explain miracles to people still bound by logic. You were created to walk in dimensions they didn't believe existed. You were created to embody the very breakthrough they thought was impossible. Your rise is not revenge. It's restoration. It's a divine recalibration that resets the atmosphere, that reorders the narrative, that redeems the time. And for every time they misjudged you, mistreated you, mislabeled you, heaven is now multiplying favor over your name. They'll wonder how you did it, how you got there, how you kept going. And the answer will never be found in your defense. It will be revealed in your glow, because your rise will be their reckoning. The countdown has begun. The final grains of sand are falling through heaven's hourglass. Archangel Michael speaks, not to repeat what's already been said, but to declare what cannot wait. This is the final moment to move. You've been circling the same thoughts, replaying the same fears, reanalyzing the same options. But Michael says, the time for reflection has passed. This is the hour for response. Heaven has given signs. The Spirit has stirred. Now action must speak. You have asked for confirmation, but the confirmation was the feeling you couldn't shake. The restlessness, the divine tension, the way your body tensed when you thought of staying where you are. That was heaven saying go. This is not a message of suggestion. It's a message of summons. Your spirit has been activated. Your calling has been confirmed. The next phase won't come through more information. It will come through movement. Michael says, obedience opens what fear will forever delay. If you hesitate, you'll forfeit the moment. If you argue, you'll mute the message. And if you delay, you'll dull the divine momentum that's trying to carry you. This is the intersection of decision and destiny. The split second where spirit collides with opportunity, and what you do next will echo not just for months, but for years. You are not being rushed. You are being released. Released from patterns, from pain, from permission, from the person you were trained to be, and into the person you were born to become. Michael declares, what heaven has aligned cannot remain stalled by hesitation. There is a sacred power in your yes, a divine ignition that sets spiritual gears in motion. But those gears wait for your agreement. You've wondered what would happen if you moved. But now ask, what will happen if you don't? The opportunity is not permanent. The energy is not infinite. The portal is not fixed. This window will close, not out of cruelty, but out of cosmic order. Heaven's gate is rotating, and only those who move when called will walk through what's now opening. You've been prepared for this. Every lesson, every heartbreak, every delay. They weren't punishments, they were preparation. They shaped your ears to hear this moment. They shaped your soul to respond to this call. Now is the time to move. Boldly, blindly, if needed. Bravely, no matter what. Because what you're stepping into is bigger than understanding. It's built by alignment. Michael says, don't look for guarantees. Look for God. The path won't make sense, but it will make destiny. It won't be comfortable, but it will be correct. This final moment is holy, not because it's loud, but because it's loaded. Loaded with breakthrough, with blessing, with divine unfolding. But you must move. Move in faith. Move in fire. Move in fullness. Because the hour is now. And yes, fear will knock. Doubt will whisper. Logic will scream. But this is the moment where spirit must overrule senses, where heaven must outweigh hesitation, where your soul must speak louder than your scars. Michael says, you are not being reckless. You are being righteous. You are not being impulsive. You are being obedient. The world will not understand your urgency. They'll tell you to wait, to think it over, to weigh the options. But heaven is not consulting human timelines. Heaven is moving in prophetic precision. And you must keep pace. This isn't about speed. It's about surrender. This isn't about performance. It's about permission. And heaven is waiting on yours. You've waited long enough. You've survived long enough. You've proved enough. Now it's time to possess, to step into the territory that was marked for you long before they doubted you, long before they overlooked you, long before you second-guessed yourself. Michael says, you will not miss what sips for you if you move with faith. But if you freeze now, you still delay what was already delivered in the Spirit. The truth is, it's already here. The door, the path, the assignment, the opportunity. It's not coming, it's waiting. And it's waiting on you. This is not a motivational speech. This is a divine directive. Heaven isn't interested in applause. Heaven is after alignment. What you do next is a covenant. It will write chapters in realms you cannot see. It will trigger angelic assignments. It will shift frequencies around your name. It will stir dimensions into response. Do not underestimate the power of this yes. Michael says, this is not the end of a message. This is the beginning of your movement. You have 72 hours. This is not a countdown to fear. It's a call to destiny. Your purpose is knocking. Will you answer? Your future is pulsing. Will you rise? Your spirit is stirring. Will you obey? The final moment has arrived, not to overwhelm you but to open you. So breathe, say yes, and move.